Hello, my name is Melissa Holden. I really get tired of announcing myself every time, but this may be the first time you've ever watched a video, and so you may be wondering who's talking. Well, I'm talking. My name is Melissa Holden. Then I kind of wonder, well, how the heck did you find this if you don't know who I am? Anyway, I just was gonna make one of my short little videos where I just talk about things. Basically, the reason why I'm making the video, I'll explain, it's because I finished knitting a sweater. My very first sweater. I should get it and show it to you. But I should be working on this. It's a corner-to-corner Afghan that I'm making, and I'm burned out on it, even though I haven't made very much of it, because I made one before and I finished. It was going to take me 1 month to do each page, and I had several pages. And I finished one. I'd been working on it 24 hours a day. Any waking hour I'd been working on it. And I just got so burned out that I was like, I'm just going to do anything. So I was like, well, I've always wanted to knit a sweater, so I ordered some knitting needles, and then, darn you, Amazon, they came instantly. And I was like, well, so much waiting for that to happen, and then I decided I was going to knit. And so anytime I would have been working on my crochet, I was knitting, and I finished my knitting in the sweater, and I thought, it didn't turn out so bad for a first time sweater. It was knit with size 9 circular needles, so I used a regular DK yarn, 2 strands together with a size 9. It was really big, but it went really fast, and I didn't think it was going to go that fast, and I thought, maybe I'll go start on a second Afghan. That's what I was dreaming of in my mind the whole time. And so I found a pattern, I found what I wanted to do, and I started to do it, and I was like, I'm just killing time. I need to just bite the bullet and get that Afghan done. So that's why it's sitting right here. But of course, I'm not working on it because I saw my laptop sitting up there. I was like, you know, I haven't used my laptop in a long time. I'll make a video. What am I going to make it about? Your guess is as good as mine. I do have one thought that had been on my mind for a while, so I'll just share that. And it's on my mind all the time, and I don't know why, but ethnicity. And nobody wants to hear me ramble about ethnicity, but that's what I always think about. So what nationality am I? American. Well, what nationality is that? America is a nation. But if you peel at, like anything, you go back, well, what were you before that? Well, before that, my ancestors largely came from England and Scotland and Ireland. But is that really what they are? I don't know, and that's what's been on my mind. It's so hard for me to figure out. So I took a DNA test, because they had this one test that they were like, had a story of this man who was just trying everything he could to figure out his DNA. Not his DNA, he knew his DNA. He was trying to figure out his heritage, because I don't know why, but all these companies were coming up. Update. I don't want to install more updates. It's been updating everything. Okay, so in the story, the guy found this one company, CRI Genetics, and I thought, I liked the story, so, and I don't have much money, so I had to save up my money to do it, and I bought a DNA test with that, but you know what? It came back and said that I was Asian. I'm like, no, I'm not Asian. And it had all these, I don't know if they're admix or they're just really minuscule. They didn't even have percentages. They were so. And it could be before that. And I'm going to get to what it takes me a long time to make a point, but I am making a point. I'm just giving you a lot of backstory. Anyway, so it said that I matched. They have a 99% accuracy that one of my ancestors lived in China in 17 something. I'm like, well, on my family tree, I have my ancestry almost all of it back, and there's nobody from China, which that's pretty recent as far as times that I'm looking, that I'm curious of, because something I didn't expect to find, and I'm not exactly sure. That's the thing, you're never sure about the paper trails. I have all these things, and they're like, these will argue, they're great genealogists, and they say, no, I know this is correct because I have verified. I'm like, how can you actually verify something? It's like from the 1700s. Anyway, they have verified my answers, and I had heard stories, so I know that a lot of that's true, and it's written in Bibles by the people, so that's I believe it. But, so when I was following these people back, because my grandmother would tell me all these stories about some town in New York was named after an ancestor, and then when I started finding the lines, I was like, wait, that's her husband's line. I thought it was hers. Well, then yesterday I found that her family comes from New York, Rhode Island, too. They all came from that area. So, but anyway, and when I was studying those people, I was reading about all these terrible problems they were having with Indians. And this one woman was attacked by Indians, and it was so funny, but anyway, none of that really matters. It's a really good story. I'll have to tell that sometime when I have a story time. Anyway, so, I'm telling you all that just to say that I found in that line that there's Native American. And I thought, well, maybe that's some of the Asian. But I don't look Native American, and no one else in my family has come back, that have had DNA tests, has come back with Native American, Colombia and Peru and stuff. I'm like, no, I don't really, that's the Native American. They came from Colombia and Peru. I don't know how they got up to New York. That remains to be seen. But anyway, my point is, I think that I am a certain ethnicity. Well, how do you know your actual ethnicity? Because somebody, for generations and generations, their families could have been Irish farmers or something. And then somebody comes, like a Han or something, comes and attacks, kills all these people and rapes somebody, and their child is born, and the woman who's been Irish all her life marries another guy. She's a poor Irish farmer, and she has this one child who now has blood of this other person. I just made up this story just to prove my point. It's really, really hard to determine, because once you get to that point, well, if you're just doing the ancestry from DNA and not from what they say, you're going to have two different ancestries. Because it's similar to the ancestry. Oh, I shouldn't go into that. But, like, we were just studying, in the mornings, we were studying the biblical Gospels, like of Matthew, that gives the genealogy, and somebody says to me, they said, well, isn't that Joseph's genealogy? One of my sons, when I say somebody. He said, isn't that Joseph's genealogy? Well, Joseph isn't even his father. He doesn't have any biological ancestry. And I'm like, no, but that's his genealogy. He was raised by that. That's his father, so that's his genealogy. And I was thinking that's very similar, but that's not the point I was going to make. I'm getting sidetracked again. So if you go back to this person who was an Irish farmer, and she has a child now who's got the blood of Asians, wherever the Huns were from, I don't know. I'm still kind of amused by somebody saying that the word Attila means little. Anyway, so Attila the Hun. Anyway, so who's your ethnicity at that point? is it the ethnicity of the father or the mother? That's one of the questions. But the real question that goes on in my mind is the second a new, even if it's just a tryst or somebody they just meet up with and marry, but for years and years they've been Irish. Well, now you have all of the other parents' DNA too for years and years while their parents lived. So which one do you choose? You say, well, we're the Irish. Well, is the child more Hunnish or more Irish? I don't know. That's what I've been thinking about a lot, because I'm like, so am I more Irish or Scottish? Well, basically, the theory, and I don't know how long it's going to be a theory, but right now they say that the Irish colonized Scotland, so the Scottish are, excuse me, my teeth are rolling out, should just take them out. They take them out. I'm just doing it to be polite. Anyway, the Irish are basically Scottish, so, and another DNA site said that I was largely Gaelic. I'm like, well, so does that mean that I'm Irish? But my mother is Scottish. And, well, it's funny too, because there's Macmillans and McMullins. Now, the McMullins came from Ireland. The Macmillans came from England, but they were Scottish. And the Macmillan married the bird. Anyway, it's just really crazy. It's just, I'm trying to figure out what I am, because nothing really, my mom had like a really large chunk. She is Scottish, so she can say, I'm Scottish. And her grandmother was a McGregor, and so she's Scottish. That's fine. Me, I'm like, so what am I? Because I don't think that my grandparents ever said they were really anything. All I know is that Anna Maria Anderson came from Sweden. But then when I was looking up, that's where her boat came from. But both of her parents were born in Norway. I'm like, so, but that's just paper. That's just what the family tree search says. The family search says. But who knows what I really am. Anyway, I just really want to know what my ethnicity is. And the best thing that I ever heard someone say, they're like, well, you can't really say, because if you say, well, who are they? And you keep going back where everybody came from. And I think it was my son who said that to me. He says, well, we're all the same anyway, eventually, all humans. So basically, your ethnicity is you're a human. And the more ethnicities you have blended in you, the better, because the more human you are, it makes you, because you're not, a certain trait does not dominate others, but you have more variety. So I'm like, well, I'm basically everything and nothing, lots of things are really significant. Some websites have tried to say, oh, you are very, very Saxon. You are very German. Another one, you are very, very English. Then another one, the one I go by all the time, the Ancestry DNA, they say, you're Northern European. But what's that? European. I'm not going to go all there. I thought I had. Okay, so I decide, well, but when I do my ancestry, it looks like I'm mostly Dutch. But I don't have any Dutch DNA. Maybe that's what they mean by Northern European. I don't know. Okay, I've talked for 15 minutes. Now I probably ought to start working on this again. Don't you think? I still don't have a catchphrase.